Welcome to the after party. Welcome to the after party. Did you bring some snacks and treats?
Yes, it did.
I hope you got me something to eat.
Maybe.
Welcome to the after party. Coming to the after party.
Right now.
I've been waiting here all day to act like a fool this way. Welcome to the after party. Join us in the after party.
Right now.
Oh, chocolate and gabbing, maybe some microphone gabbing.
Hey!
After party.
With DJ Eric, Paige.
And me.
What's up? It's Canada Graphs, and we have Lance back. It's been like what 2-3 weeks now since you've been on the stream. Lance?
Yeah, I've been making monies.
And of course, Paigey in the house, and yeah. So this is going to be pretty exciting. We've got a pretty big story.
And many special guests.
Yes, you might want to be careful with kids on stream. They will sometimes flag the video as being for children. So like,
Oh yeah, I'm about to put it down in this.
yeah, just holding her up might be like too much for them. So, but anyway, so yeah, all right. So we're back, and we have a big story to talk about today. Canada Graphs destroyed the internet when I got home from work last night. I was like,
yes, he did.
what is going on?
I actually saw the person that we're about to talk about, the acting person, not the character, actually in my What's Happenings on Twitter. I was kind of surprised.
So we got that, and then we're going to talk about Stargirl this week. That'll be the second story. We're going to do that after we talk about the big news, because Canada Graphs doesn't even watch Stargirl. So anyway, so yeah, what have you watched it, Lance, or no?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Because it was a good episode.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about it. I didn't get to do a review, but I really want to talk about it.
You had to watch it the day after. You still having those issues?
No, we still don't have CW here.
Wow.
So yeah, and it's affecting numbers as well. I'm seeing shows ratings are being affected by this,
Yeah.
like not just the DC TV shows. We also have, for a minute in time, Canada Graphs has an exclusive photo that we're going to share here that has not been posted yet, that is going to reveal another character coming back to the Flash this season, which Canada Graphs didn't even notice until he was going through his picture. So he was like, oh yeah, this character's back. So we have a returning character, an OG returning character that is really exciting. So make sure you stick around. We'll talk about that at the end after we talk about all of the stuff with these set photos. Okay, so if you want to see any and all of this, you guys know I'm going to post it in the description box when we're done with the video, but you can head over to Canada Graphs blog or his Patreon, where he has exclusive, like, early access to these pictures, and you can go over and support him that way. And yeah, these are like, I saw, it's so funny, all of the clickbait sites immediately picked this up. As soon as you put the pictures out, it was like CBR, and everybody was like talking about this. It was so exciting to see like the world on fire there.
You know who refuses to talk about it though?
Who is that?
In the Facebook group.
Oh, really?
They are refusing to talk about it. They're saying we're gonna wait because this could not happen at all. Like,
oh my god!
What more do you?
I have seen a few people that are triggered by it, and I'm amused by that.
Here we go. I've got about 4 pictures here. We're just going to use 4 of the ones that I have to share. Because if you want to see the rest of them, there's a ton of them that are going to be on his blog. So you can go over see those. Red Death is coming to the final season of The Flash, and I'm actually shocked about this because I did not think Eric Wallace had it in him to do something like this. But not only is Red Death coming, but the suit, although a bit bulky, looks very comic book accurate. And so I'm pretty excited about that. Canada Graphs was there for the for how long were you on set, or were you filming on set?
Whew. Besides about an hour that I went home after I got the first pile of photos to come and upload, I was on set for about 8 hours.
Really?
And it was our first cold day of the year too, so that was wonderful.
Now, Paigey, with this, you've already done a video on it and you've given your thoughts over on your video, but I'm just curious, what do you think of the costume from what we've seen so far? Because again, they haven't put on any promo shots, so all we have is what the photos that we have seen here.
It looks fine from what I can tell. Like as I was saying before again, like if there wasn't for that last photo, you just think it's like a rebooted Zoom.
Yeah, let me share that one.
The chest plate thingy.
The one.
It's like the last one.
Right. Is this the one you're talking about here?
He's taking the knee, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You can slightly see like the dark red sort of and a maroon. I don't know what color you would call it.
Mm-hmm.
A rouge. I don't know. Like rouge death. I don't know. I don't know what you'd call it. But if it wasn't for that, and I guess the breastplate, you think it's rebooted Zoom. But I think just because of the chest plate thing, it makes it look a bit bulky.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the only criticism, is that it just makes it look a bit too bulky. But outside of that, it looks, from what we can tell, it looks fine. I like the wings, and it looks very comic accurate. Just like the headpiece and like the ear wing things, like that's from the comics.
And Canada Graphs, you can confirm this is actually Javicia as Red Death, correct? This is her playing character.
Yeah.
Now, Lance, let's talk about this, because you are probably the biggest Batwoman fan that I know on social media.
Yes.
You are always standing Batwoman. How do you feel about Javicia back again, suited up?
I just would like to say that I told everybody on the internet that if one person would make this happen, it would be Eric Wallace. Now, I will say I had my doubts about, Red Death anything, because, well, that's a weird story to try to adapt, especially if you don't have a Bruce Wayne proper in the universe. But, I mean, hey, Javicia can pull it off. I'm pretty sure this is just an alternate version, but we got Ryan Wilder back. Who knows if, Canada Graphs might go back to a set and see her in the Batwoman suit, and they're trying to figure out, like, okay, where did this one come from?
Yeah.
This has me very intrigued. I'm really excited.
I don't know all in the game. What keyboard does Canada Graphs use? I have no idea.
He uses the Agatha Christie 1960s loud as fuck special. That's what he uses. The migraine in this. So I feel like kicking him. I wish he'd give me the mod thing and I kick him. It's pissing me off.
Let's see. We had a super chat here from Martin. Let's go ahead and do this. A $49.99 super chat from Martin. Thank you so much, Martin. You're amazing. By the way, make sure you guys, after the after parties are done, show Martin love in the comments. Always posting great timestamps, and I so appreciate it. So some of them are funny. I have to read through it. I'm like, really? That was a timestamp? But it's great. It's funny.
This looks like one of my YouTube titles, but extremely long.
Extremely long, yeah. Wow. So Red Death. As Mitty would know, I never had any faith in this character ever appearing on the show. I didn't either. I didn't either. I'll be honest, straight up, I did not. I'd always cringe when someone would mention this character, but I admit I was wrong. So my question for Paige is, how big was this L I took? Well, not any larger than the ones I've taken, because I honestly did not think that Eric Wallace would do Red Death. So
you're suggesting that the L's you take aren't big by saying
not.
that. So I don't know if that's a compliment to Martin.
Yeah. So, somebody is at my front door, and my clock or my.
It's Dark Multiverse Eric.
They're coming to take me away.
You said too much.
Wait, right. Do you have to go away from stream?
No. They're just gonna. It's somebody.
Last time that happened, didn't end well.
Yeah, no. I think they're just dropping off.
Ended up with balls.
I had some custom shoes being made, so I think they're dropping off the custom shoes. So.
The Air Eric threes, the Air Rex,
the Reese's.
They're the Balenciaga Kanye's. I got the.
Well, he doesn't have. They kicked him off.
I know, he's gone, and so did Anna Wintour. He's no longer going to be associated with that either. So there we go. So I don't know if the L's any bigger than an L I would have taken, because I didn't think Eric Wallace, had it in him to do this character. But I will say,
well, I wouldn't blame you. No, because the thing is that like it's not just a character appearing. It's like if they want to do this character, it'd have to be multiverse related. We weren't too sure if they're going to tap into that again.
Yeah.
So you're not just associating bringing a character in. You're also trying to get them to tap into something, which it feels like they've gone out of their way to avoid over the past 2 seasons or so.
Yeah, because right now, Red Death is from. I don't have it in front of me. I should have had this before started.
Isn't it dark multiverse?
It is the dark
Isn't it
multiverse. I think it's like
minus
Earth
50,
52,
isn't it?
It's 52.
But
I
minus
believe. Yeah.
negative Earth 52 or whatever.
Yeah, let me
Or
see here.
Earth negative 52, isn't it? Something.
So, and Red Death is a member of the Dark Knights, plural, which is a group of vigilantes
Of the
from the Dark
Gotham Knights?
multiverse whose goal is to assist Barbatos to plunge Central DC multiverse into darkness to become part of the Dark Multiverse. So, so yeah, thank you for the super chat. But yeah, I also didn't think we would ever see this character come back again. And or come back, or but actually see Ryan Wilder come back as well, because of the fact that we thought that was going to get cut off. Now, Lance, you said this is probably an alternate version of Ryan. You're most likely like 99.9999% right. But does that change your excitement to see her back as a character in the Arrowverse? Does that make it any less powerful?
Nope. Her time in this universe was cut extremely short. So I'm glad that they found a way to do it.
Yeah.
And a fun way. She gets to play a villain.
Yeah.
Now, the only question I have, everybody knows how the whole fusion of Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen happened on that Earth. Are we to assume that the version of Barry from her respective Earth, if this is what's going on, is that weak that he let her basically strap him to the hood of the Batmobile that was hooked to the cosmic treadmill, and he just went with it? And he just
go ahead,
They're probably not going to do that. They'll probably just make it that she just stole his speed through another means or gave herself artificial speed. They're probably just something simple as that. I think going to like over the top thing.
I'm telling you right now, guys.
It's already not comic book accurate.
I was going to say it's not going to be comic accurate.
I want them over the top with it. What if it's just the suit that gives her the speed?
Ooh, because that could be like the Batwing suit. Like it's just a suit that was given.
Confirmed she killed Luke on whatever Earth she came from.
Oh, wouldn't that be super dark?
It really would.
That would be super dark. Yeah, 100%. Now, Canada Graphs, how long was she on set the entire time you were there, or was it just for the couple seasons?
Yeah. No, she was actually there longer than Grant worked about maybe 3 or 4 hours that night, and Paul, the other person that's there also worked maybe about the same amount of time, and then she worked an extra maybe 2 to 3 hours past everybody else.
Okay.
So she was actually on set from the time I got there to the time I finally quit.
Right. Also, it looks like the suit is designed to hide her identity. So do you think this is going to be the first time she appears? Because I mean, the suit doesn't look very Batwoman-esque. It looks like it's an androgynous looking costume. And
I mean, it's hard to
Javicia
say.
has a lot of curves. So
the one thing I'll say, I mean, Pagey couldn't have known when he was making the video, but he made one small mistake in his video, and that is he said in the scene she takes off her helmet, but she doesn't. The photo he saw was in between takes. In the scene, she explicitly calls out for the Flash to come and find her, like come and get her. So I don't know if they have, before that moment, had a scene together where they like had a prior battle, because it'd be very random for her that to be her like intro into the series, to just all of a sudden be like, come and find me. Like people would be like, and who are you? Yeah. Right? So I have to assume that before these scenes, they've had some type of prior interaction.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's like a mystery character, like we're not supposed to know who this is for a while, and then all of a sudden it's,
I have a question.
In a public scene with the public identity revealed.
Yeah.
L.
Canada Graphs. Was there any indication, like while you were there, that they're going with a Barry knows Javicia off like they met off screen or something before, in the off
So
season
I could not hear any of the dialogue except for the time when Javicia's yelling out. So I don't know what anything that Barry said or when they were doing scenes close together. The only time I heard was when she did a solo scene in the courtyard, like I said, where she literally yells out for the Flash to come and find her.
Okay.
And that was the one and only time I could hear any dialogue. So in the scene, Barry is at one end of the courtyard, she is at the other, and there's another person that we're getting to that is standing in the middle. So Barry shows up and he very hesitantly is walking towards them. Like, not like walking like he's, going out for a morning walk. He's walking like he's afraid, like the floor is going to fall if he takes the wrong step.
Well, if I saw that suit, I'd be terrified as well.
So he takes maybe 4 or 5 steps before the stuff that happens where he ends up on the ground.
Okay.
Like when you see the scene where she's standing over top of him, kneeling. So he takes maybe 4 or 5 steps and then is confronted and he ends up on the ground. And
season 1 Barry back again. All right.
Yeah, that guy spends more time laying down than like.
Yeah.
Well, I can already. I have a feeling that it's just gonna be like a quick. Oh yeah, I'm. Oh, Ryan, that's you. Or he's gonna be like, oh, he knew that was Ryan Wilder from when he remembers the Armageddon timeline or something. It's gonna be something that's just gonna piss us all off because I know me personally, I wanted to see when they met up in person, like for the first time.
I'm wondering how cold would it be if she shows up like this and then reveals herself and then tells Barry that she killed the Batwoman of Earth Prime. Because that would end that storyline. Basically, that would wrap that storyline up, and it would be done.
I think that would trigger a lot of people.
After what he did to Diggle and giving up the ring, that wouldn't surprise me.
I'm actually waiting for the websites to find the channels to find Canada Graph's pictures, and then start making the anti-Batwoman videos again. Except this time about the fact that they're switching Red Death to Batwoman because they're gonna.
I've already seen the comments on some posts, so I bet you there's some out there.
Oh, it's people that wanted this that are mad. This isn't Stephen Amell, and I'm like,
I saw it all.
How would that be red? When he runs, he's gonna have arrowheads following him.
I think the criticism that people have is that they've done a villain that Barry has no, and they've hidden the identity that at the moment Barry has no personal connection to whatsoever. He saw her in an alternate future, but really didn't interact with her. So unless there's stuff done off screen, which I'm going to assume is what's going to be referred to, is that they've interacted off screen X amount of times ever since Ryan Wilder took over the cowl. And that's how they'll address it. There's a personal connection. Though for fans watching, you're like, I would prefer to have seen that. Like, why didn't Batwoman show up in the present day rather than... But also, obviously, that's easy in hindsight to look back at it. So I can understand the criticism of the personal connection and wanting someone else that actually has that personal connection, whether it's Oliver Queen, whether it's someone else, even if they use Wallace Day or something like that, because it's still, quote-unquote, Kate Kane.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if they're going to do it, they're going to use what was the last Batwoman we had, most likely. And also, this allows them to also address what's going on in Gotham ever since Batwoman got cancelled. Because... And I think I said this in my video. It might not have. I'm not too sure. Maybe I saved it for the after party. Ooh, I don't know. This wouldn't have happened if Batwoman was still on.
True.
Not at all. It would be doing something else because one time. But also,
that's a good point. I didn't think about that because she would not be able to do double duty like this. She
might be able to, but I don't think there would be like that push to do it,
right?
Or at least to have it be Ryan Wilder. They might have made it someone else. I think the only reason it's happening specifically with Ryan Wilder or Javicia is because Batman was cancelled. They can address what's going on in Gotham and sort of give like a soft close up to that side of things without focusing too heavily on it.
I just got the worst thought in my mind. If what Eric says does happen, which I hope it doesn't, here come all the fanboys of Ruby Rose and or Wallace Day saying by default that makes Kate Kane Batwoman again.
Oh no.
And we're not going to hear the end of it. We're going the hashtag of Kate Kane is Batwoman, Kate Kane is my Batwoman. When this episode airs, Twitter is going
What
to
if
be more
what if
toxic
what if she
than
comes
ever
what if
has.
she comes back? What if she comes back and she's like, "Oh, I killed Kate Kane."
Oh,
I wouldn't mind that.
Okay. One extra thing to say about this is we're talking about how much time do you think they've engaged before this? It's important to know she's been here at least a full week of shooting because she made a post 5 or 6 days ago posting from an apartment in Vancouver. So she was here for at least a whole week of filming. So she's probably done anywhere from 3 to 4 days of filming so far.
this is interesting because you would think that she wouldn't want to come back after what happened with her show.
So interesting about that. I actually talked to her very briefly after she wrapped last night to get some stuff
her I
signed
love
and
her.
stuff like that. Yeah, I specifically was like, Lance from YouTube, you'll know him. But no, I said to her, I'm like, I'm really sorry your show got treated the way it did. Her reply, I expected her to be like something like, oh, thanks, I'm sorry, I'm disappointed too. Her reply was actually like, it's okay. So I think she's got to that she's moved on from it point already. There was probably some frustration and anger early on, but eventually you've just come to accept it and you're like, I probably have to work with these people again.
Look, Robert's calling out Canada Graphs because he spoke to Javicia.
And then she's been working because I think she went back to that BET show. I don't know if she ever fully left, but she went back to that BET show Family Business, and judging by her Instagram, she's been traveling back and forth nonstop.
Okay.
So I mean, hey.
Here's the question too. I've seen a couple of comments like this. Do you think she's going to be a villain of the week, or do you think this is going to be one of the story arcs?
This is graphic novel number 6. The death.
I hope it's multiple episodes, even if it's a 2-parter. I feel like it needs to be more than one episode.
All right.
I wouldn't mind more than one episode, but I don't want to go on too long because this isn't something that was set up. I don't want them to ignore the cobalt blue thing.
The other thing I asked her, funny enough, was, is this just a one-off episode, or are you here for a recurring role? And her answer was, I don't know. and I'm like, you know the answer. I understand you can't tell me, but you know the answer.
Wow. All right, Thomas Scott, member for 20 months, enhanced Team Eric member. Thank you so much. Goes, wasn't there a story of Batwoman season 3 being last and moving her to another show? Is this what they meant? Maybe Gotham Knights? I don't think this is going to be connected to Gotham Knights at all. I think this is literally just a story for the final season of The Flash, and Red Death is a character a lot of people wanted. I also want to address the people saying something about Stephen Amell being Red Death. Not only wouldn't really make sense in terms of his storyline, but he already got enough shit for being called like a second-rate Batman character on the CW. The last thing they would need to do is make him Red Death, especially when he doesn't even have a bat symbol. So what, he took over for Batman and he took the Flash? Like, that just wouldn't make any sense. I know a lot of people want to see Steven come back, but I just don't. I don't know. Would we want to see Steven be Red Death? I don't think that would work for me.
No.
He'd probably be a better villain. I don't know how good Javicia is going to be as a villain, just because she never really showed that side. But then again, I haven't seen her anything outside of Batwoman, so I think Steven would be able to play a better villain. But in regards to like the logical side of the Red Death side, you'd want a Bat character.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if it wasn't Javicia, then it might have been Cameras.
I was just about to say that. Paige, get out of my head.
and we saw that he can play the biggest douche alive. And
I actually wouldn't have minded Luke coming back as Red Death. That would have been good with me too. Because then you could think about this. Oh gosh, I'm already like fanficting this already. Could you imagine if Luke showed up as Red Death and Barry had to get help from Batwoman on Earth Prime, and she had to fight an evil version of Luke? Oh, that would have been so
what,
good.
and Luke was Red Death?
Yeah, like say for example, Red Death shows up and it's Luke, and somehow Barry and the team find out that has ties to Batwoman, and they're like, well, the easiest way to stop him is to like bring somebody that he knows, because maybe on his Earth she got killed or something, and then you bring in Ryan Wilder from Gotham on Earth Prime, and have Barry and Batwoman team up against Red Death.
And then go through the whole, I'm the villain and I'm only here because someone died. Now I forgive everything and I'm good.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
doppelganger's alive.
That's a good storyline.
You should join the writers' room, Eric, because that was the worst idea I've ever fucking heard. So
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to tie Luke in because I'd love to see Luke back as Batwing. So, all right, we have a super chat here from Luther G, a $99.99.
What the hell?
Chat.
Holy cow.
Thank you so much, Luke, for the support. It means a lot.
That pays for the custom shoes.
I saw people online going absolutely mental over this Red Death news. This doesn't change anything for me. I'm still going into the final season with low expectations because Eric Wallace has shown that he's good with coming up with ideas, but execution for the most part, not so much. All right, let's address that then. Okay, so I'll give my opinion first. Yes, I typically agree that Eric Wallace is an idea person and not an execution person, and he's really bad at interviews. That's just straight up, right?
Which one's he worse at though, Eric? I think interviews.
I think interviews. Interviews are the worst. But you know what? I love Javicia as Ryan Wilder. I love her Batwoman. So I'm going to fanboy give me a moment to fanboy a little bit before I start feeling really bad about this, because I feel like this is a pretty big deal for me. But I get why people are. Do you guys feel the same way? Do you understand why people are apprehensive about this? Does that make sense for you, like in terms of what's happening here?
Yeah,
if it's short term, I don't think it's too much of an issue. I think if it's long term, it's like an actual arc, like an actual graphic novel of this season, say 3, 4, God forbid, 5 episodes. Then maybe it's an issue. If it is just like a 2-episode thing, then I don't know if it'd be that much of a concern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think everyone's got a right to be nervous because to date, Eric Wallace has, at best, a shaky record with some things, He's not missing everything, but he's had some misses. So I think everyone's got a right to at least be hesitant,
Lance, give us your feelings about Eric Wallace, because you're very vocal about your thoughts on him as a showrunner. So,
we all know Eric Wallace had one great season 6. We were just all happy that Todd Helbing left, right? Mm-hmm. So, like you said, he's an idea guy. And he sucks at interviews. His ideas sound good on not even paper, because Todd Helbing said he walked past the board and seen what he wrote on the board. And he was like, okay, I wouldn't have done that. But his ideas sound good coming out of his mouth. Mm-hmm. But it's just execution. I don't know. Like with Armageddon, first few episodes were cool. Then it started to, unravel a little bit. Same for some parts of the season.
This is why Eric will defend Eric Wallace.
Look, I think Eric Wallace is very charismatic. I would love to get him on the after party. Wouldn't that be exciting? Andy, make it happen. Andy's in the chat. Make it happen.
I think that would be a train wreck, Eric. I can imagine the live chat.
I just want him to be good. I just want him to
have to be disabled.
Do right by Javicia. I promise you, if she comes on and she comes off extremely campy as a villain, I'm not going to blame her, because she can do no wrong in my eyes.
Okay,
I'm going to blame Eric Wallace.
Let me ask a question. Do you think...
What if she kidnapped a bus of small children? Can I...
Blame Eric Wallace, all right?
Oh, here we go.
Okay. Unless it's done well, unless it's...
Okay, hold on. Can we just retract? I don't think you can kidnap a bus of small children well, unless it's in an evil sense. Oh, I did that well. Drive them off a cliff. Like, what the hell? Like, you can't. What do you mean by that?
Oh, I thought you meant in the show in real life. Oh, well.
No, I meant. Of course, I meant it. Real life.
Well, still blame Eric Wallace, because he's the one that put this villain.
Maybe it could be put down to insanity because of bad dialogue.
Yeah, if he's writing,
Eric Wallace. Not Eric Wallace. Sorry, Eric, for calling you Eric Wallace. Eric's Reloaded is now currently worried about the demonetization tab.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Please, don't. I don't want him to write this episode.
I just realized
So
This
wait,
is not good.
you're okay with him being the showrunner for this idea? You don't want him writing the episode? Is that what you're saying?
No, please.
He-
Because honestly,
Well-
Cecile will run out there for like an hour and
Oh, goodness.
just scream because Red Death is standing there and make that little stupid face, just like for an
No,
hour.
the side isn't it the Psyduck? Isn't it like it's like the Macaulay Culkin but to the forehead. So it's like
There's a follow-up here as well. Luther G with another super chat, 1999. And considering there's only 13 episodes this season, whatever direction they're going with Red Death, I'm expecting to be a very rushed story arc. I won't disagree with that. I don't think it's going to be like I don't think that Red Death will be like the season-long big bad. I'd be really surprised if they were. I did see Andy commented, by the way, that not everything is on the showrunner. And I agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts with the shows and things that they're not allowed to do and stuff along those lines.
and also this is like episode 3 or 4. You don't really see a showrunner write a 3rd or 4th episode of a season unless he's writing all the episodes. Like,
which, by the way, also we might so who here? Well, Canadagraphs won't be here. Paige, you have not seen Black Adam yet, correct?
no, I've not seen the new hierarchy in the DC universe.
Okay.
yet.
I am shocked.
I'm just going to cut in for 1 microsecond here
Yeah.
while I'm doing this. Just so you know, my blog is now up.
Okay.
So that
So-
other photo is
Let's go
Out
ahead and
there.
do it then. We're going to go ahead and talk about it. Thank you so much for the super chats, Luther G. Really appreciate it. But yeah, I agree with you. We should be apprehensive about it. And yeah, there we go. All right. Let's talk about this picture that Canadagraphs sent to me here. And here we go. This is on his blog now. We're going to break it over here. It is a returning character from season 1 that some people may get excited about and other people may not. But here we go. Now, does anybody recognize it? It's been a long time. Does anybody recognize this character?
Isn't it like Bivolo? Isn't that the
Rainbow Raider.
Like,
And we had like the
original
Japanese
Rainbow
lady.
Raider.
But it's old Rainbow Raider. And we had the rebooted version last season. No, season 7, and she got the job at Town Hall or whatever it was after trying to kill people.
Didn't he die?
Now he got his eyes messed up, didn't he?
I thought he got killed with the rest of the.
No, it was at the air thing, wasn't he?
thing.
Didn't he get his
Yeah, the air
eyes messed
thing.
up? I
thought
think he just got his eye. Oh no, he got frozen by Captain Cold. Didn't
Yeah.
he? I can't remember. He either got, I think he got his eyes messed up, or maybe just. But regardless, I think this is multiverse, so I don't think it really matters.
I was going to say, I don't think this is the Rainbow Raider from Earth Prime.
But then it could be Eric. Actually, it technically should be, but then again, there's multiverse stuff, so anything's possible.
Well, what
bit
I
of
think
time.
is the most exciting about this literally is setting up a rogues gallery for the final season of The Flash, because we're seeing a lot of the rogues that we hadn't seen in a while, even if they've been recast, coming back for the season. I hope the final story arc is a rogues graphic novel. That's what I hope, honestly.
I personally think it's the opposite way around.
You think the rogues graphic novel is the first one?
Well, the fact that Captain Boomerang's in episode 1, and now we're getting this in episode 3 or 4. So, which makes me think that it's a rogue story that then leads into answering the crystal, which then leads into probably Cobble Blue at the end.
Yeah.
Then again, they might fold in if it is Cobble Blue. I guess we're jumping to assumptions, but yeah. I'd assume it's the beginning just because of where everything's laid out so far.
Right. All right. Well, I'm excited because this does lean into my fantasy of having a rogues lineup on the final season.
You
If
have
it
some weird
doesn't-
fantasies. You have some
if it
weird ones
doesn't
there. I've
happen-
heard that.
Wait a minute. Am I the only person that wants to see like a rogues graphic novel? I think that would be really cool.
No, I'm just bringing up the other side of things that you've told me. It's all good. I'm side with you on one element of it.
I want to see rogues that are actually, going to be useful. Unless he's left. Don't say the words during the season, but unless he's leveled up, cool. Because I mean, the last Rainbow Raider that Eric Wallace wrote just made you like an hilariously laughing happy idiot. So,
Well, we did get one of the best scenes in the history of the Flash in that episode, so I don't know how you can criticize it too much.
I guess you're right. I always wanted to see Grant just spinning around on the floor in a tight spandex suit. It's all I wanted in life.
What up, party people? Oh, what a scene.
But no, like if he's cool, like level up his powers.
Oh, by the way, Eric, if you want to talk Black Adam for like 5 to 10 minutes, you may as well, because I've just got to go out the front and talk to someone for like 5 to 10 minutes. So
Like right
if you
now.
want to, well, yeah.
Okay.
I hope
That's
Alright,
perfect
so,
timing.
if you want-
I need to go to the bathroom,
Yeah,
so I'll
okay,
do
go
that
ahead.
at the same time.
Do that, and
All right.
I'm gonna, and we'll, yeah, go ahead, guys.
Okay.
We'll just. All right, so Stagger with the 49 super chat goes, so will Red Death be the direct main villain or just appear for a small number of episodes? We don't really have an answer for that right now, but the way Javicia spoke to Canada Graphs, he just talked about this a minute ago, he asked her if it was going to be like a one-off thing or if she was going to be recurring, and she said, I don't know, which leads me to believe that it's probably going to be recurring, or at least more than one episode, if I had to guess. Right? Would you feel the same way?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect her to be the big bad. I would lose so much respect for Eric Wallace if he tainted my memory of the best iteration of Batwoman ever in the world.
All right, couple things before we talk about Black Adam, and I can actually do Black Adam with no spoilers. We can, because there's, to be honest, Lance, if you might agree with me here, there's very few things in that movie that would be spoilery. There's very few things. There's only a couple stories
online.
So I want to say this. If you didn't check it out last night, I was a guest for the first hour of the Endless Multiverse with Chainsaw and Andy. We talked about Black Adam in detail with spoilers over on Chainsaw's channel. So if you want to check that out, I believe it's up. Maybe I'm speaking out of my ass here. But I believe it's up and available on Chainsaw's channel. And tomorrow I'm doing a special live stream, which will probably be my Black Adam like spoiler review. And I think if he's going to agree to do it, I may have Andy jump in with me as well. And we'll probably talk a little bit about the Flash. So if Andy is free tomorrow, we'll be doing that on my channel. So that gives everybody time to see it if you haven't seen it yet. Because by then we'll have an idea of what the weekend's going to be, which is kind of nervously. I'm worried a little bit about Black Adam's weekend. We'll see where that goes. All right. So here is our non-spoiler, but quick thoughts and opinions on Black Adam. So critics are crazy.
Very. They're smoking something. They're smoking something.
This movie was exciting from beginning to end. Okay, yes, it's not the greatest story. It's not like they're not breaking new ground with the story. I get it, right? But they're using representation, which I think a lot of them overlooked, like the Middle Eastern representation and storyline within the movie, which we've never seen in a superhero movie ever. And the fact that that's just completely overlooked when people are reviewing this movie is weird to me. Also, I think The Rock being somber and dark in this movie makes sense to the fucking story.
Yeah, it's a fish. The way I see it, it's a fish out of water type tale. Like, did they expect him to come out and understand everything that was going on? Like, just being a full blown do you smell what the Rock or his character off Jumanji? Did they want him acting like that? He's been asleep for 5,000 years. What did they expect?
People are also like, well, where's that charisma? Well, you don't expect Black Adam to be charismatic as soon as he comes back from the dead. Like, explain that. He's going to show up and be TikToking and stuff. That's what Shazam is for. That's not what Black Adam's about. Like, it just didn't make any sense. Okay, none at all. Here's the deal. I agree. Let me start out with the negatives that I agree with. I agree that the story it wasn't the greatest story. I also agree that some of the special effects weren't great. I think some of them were wonky here and there. And I also,
some of the flying scenes when he's just floating, it kind of looked like Martian Manhunter.
It did. I also agree that the JSA wasn't, the backstory for some of the characters wasn't as drawn out as it could have been. I understand that. But outside of that, okay, this sets up some really exciting stuff for the future of live action DC, right? The JSA were interesting. Cyclone, great character. I can't wait to see more of her down the road. I liked the way they were going with her. The backstory, stuff we don't know about her, seemed very exciting. Dr. Fate, without any spoilers, again, I'm not going to give spoilers here. I'll do that tomorrow. The whole Dr. Fate storyline, loved Pierce in this role.
Yep.
Very cool. Underpowered a bit for Dr. Fate.
I will agree. I will agree. The one that was on Smallville was more powerful.
Yeah. Hawkman, I loved Aldous in this role. I think he's going to make a really solid Hawkman for the DC film franchise. I will say the backstory was a little derivative of like X-Men meets Bruce Wayne, which I get. They needed it for this movie. We need a movie we need a Hawkman movie now. Yeah. We need a movie with him as Hawkman, showing like how he got to where he is.
But I will say this: when me and my wife were talking about it after we saw it yesterday, she brought up a good point. She says even though they're not gonna say it, because she read the tie-in comic, she was like, even though they're not gonna say it, they don't want to delve into his history. He has been reincarnated. He's been around for so many years. It only makes sense that he would have all of this money.
No, it does. It just was kind of weird in the movie because it felt very.
It's weird to see it because they don't directly deal with it.
Right.
And the other thing that like caught me off guard is, okay, where was the JSA when Doomsday?
There's questions in the chat right now about that. Like, what was going on? Where were they at? I feel like the JSA is sort of the superhero version of Task Force X. They're like the Suicide Squad, but not out and open. They're not on posters. And the movie didn't do a great job of this, but you could see that the kid was inspired by the Justice League because they were very visible superheroes that are out in the world. But the JSA are not. And I think that was by design. They just didn't do a good job of tying it in. I also want to say the director loves Zack Snyder, obviously.
Yeah. Oh,
the muted color of the yellowish muted color, the slow motion shots, the 300 thing at the beginning with the kicking. And this is not a spoiler. That's in one of the trailers. You get to see that shot, with that, which is, there's nothing, I want to point this out also. There's nothing wrong with that because in the DC universe, we already know that a lot of the directors take inspiration from Zack Snyder. Superman and Lois obviously takes inspiration from Zack Snyder. And it's nothing wrong with, this movie doing that as well. I think it did work. I liked how Black Adam's movement sort of mirrored what we got in Man of Steel, which I thought was very exciting as well. I walked out of the theater excited about where the story is going to go. Sabak was a weak villain.
Yeah.
But the storyline, which this is a spoiler point, I don't want to talk about this in detail. The storyline leading up to Sabak was actually interesting. Sabak as a villain was not very good.
I'm tired of seeing that actor be like red demonic figures. First Jafar, now Sabak.
Yeah. But anyway, my final thoughts are, I think that the movie is solid. I hope it makes good money this weekend because I have a feeling, because of the Rotten Tomatoes score, next weekend is going to be rough for Black Adam.
Yeah, and honestly, it's making a boatload right now. It's doing really well.
So the company wants to see 135 million plus for the opening weekend. So that's the number they're looking for. Anything less than that from their perspective is a financial failure. So just keep that in mind. 135 global is what they're looking for, not domestic, global. So that's the full numbers from everywhere in the world over the weekend. So that is the number you guys have to keep your eye on. That is the number that Warner Brothers Discovery is looking for. So that will determine what they think of the movie, because if it doesn't hit that in the opening weekend, it's going to make it really rough for the second weekend, to be completely honest.
Now, do we, when we're not talking spoilers or anything, guys, I think that the 15 years put into developing this film to get it the way that he wanted it, I think it was worth it. Like you said, like even I said in my little small review that I put out on Twitter and Facebook, the story left a little to be desired, but overall, this is one of DC's better films.
You know what I said yesterday on their podcast is this felt like a summer thrill ride in the fall. This felt like a movie that probably could have came out in June or July. Like it's one of those popcorn movies where you just go out, you have some popcorn, you want to see a thrill ride. That's it. There's a level of expectation that's now put on superhero movies that I think is unfair. I think judging them as a piece of high art is not the way you should approach every single superhero movie, because I don't think that's what this movie ever was trying to be. And Staggervore here says the movie didn't need to be perfect. It had good action story. It kept me entertained. And that's what I felt about it. My brain was just Okay. And then we get the spoiled end credit scene, which, by the way, this isn't a spoiler because this was literally leaked
Been posted.
5 days before the movie came out. Was the post credit scene with Henry Cavill in it as Superman. I kind of wish that it didn't get spoiled because that would have been super exciting to see in the theaters. But I said this 3 weeks ago that if that scene were if that were going to be a post credit scene, it would get spoiled immediately. And it not only got spoiled immediately, it got spoiled before the movie even actually came out.
Yep, and come to find out, they were going to go with the headless Superman.
Yeah.
Before Dwayne Johnson got his way, it was going to be. And what sucks is, The Rock didn't film that scene with Henry Cavill. That's why he's standing there. I was wondering, I'm like, why is he looking like he's looking into like dead space with the weird smirk on his face?
So a lot of people are saying that it's not going to make, a bunch of money this weekend because of different factors. It doesn't matter what the factors are. The studio executives, let me just say this, guys. They don't care what the circumstances are. They do not care. If there's a sports game going on or whatever's happening, when they set their goal of how much money they want to make, they expect that if people are willing to miss this movie to do something else, that says something about the quality of the product they're putting out. And that's the way they see it.
And
it doesn't matter what it is.
I still think it was a mistake to see that Black Panther 2 is coming out 2 weeks from now, and then still say, oh, we're still going to drop Black Adam right here because we're not worried. If we're being completely honest, Black Adam, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That's everybody's mindset.
Well, especially now that Rotten Tomatoes, because we don't necessarily listen to Rotten Tomatoes, but casual moviegoers do look at Rotten Tomatoes.
They're like sheep. They will follow Rotten Tomatoes and other movie critics and stuff like that. And all of those critics that have review bombed it, basically, you're gonna tell me that Thor: Love and Thunder was hilarious, but the humor in Black Adam was cringy? I will take Black Adam over Screaming Goats any day. I'll
say this. I will watch Black Adam again before I watch Thor: Love and Thunder.
Exactly.
And I love that movie. I thought it was good, but I would rather watch Black Adam again. Antonio goes, Eric Wallace, Black Adam, our next villain.
For Black Adam, I think there's a reason I'm not saying it for another couple of days. Tight ass Tuesdays, half price tickets. That's
and so but Paige, you're a huge JSA fan. Are you just not interested in the storyline?
The only thing that intrigues me much is the JSA side of things. I think it speaks so much to Timbuktu and back that all the talk and advertising in the last week leading up to it, after projections came out, was all about Superman. I think it says everything about.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I agree. I do feel like the movie is relying heavily on
a 5-second cameo at the end, and I've seen people criticize why there was even discussions why it shouldn't have been there, and there's a simple answer. What does it set up?
Exactly, because it's already THR came out and basically put out a retraction about that whole him being contracted for Man of Steel 2 and all of that other stuff. They basically Monday were just talking out of the side of their neck. So really now it's really not setting up anything. Then you have the Snyder people who are mad because it's not Snyder's Superman, whatever the hell that means. It's just, just adding toxicity.
Flash Clip says it sets up Amanda Waller seeing Superman after Adam. It doesn't set it up. He's literally there. So are we seeing that in the next movie? What, does Superman just fly away and go, okay, I can't be bothered dealing with it?
Why was he even there to begin with?
And I don't think it's sending him.
The post-credit scene makes no sense to me.
You're right. So you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Superman ends there and goes, Black Adam, goodbye. This was just for 5 seconds so I could appear on screen. Makes no sense to me. And that's the thing. I've seen people criticizing why it was even talked about, why Superman shouldn't have been there. And I think that explains it. it doesn't set up anything. You can argue the thing with the Marvel post-credit scenes is that they actually set up something. They're either a joke or they
Well,
set up something.
They
So
said
is
right
that-
now
is
there's
that
no
setting up something,
contract.
or is it a
Henry
joke?
Cavill's not on contract
Yeah.
for anything.
Exactly.
Right now.
And honestly, it also it didn't make sense. It was cool to see him. Don't get me wrong, but it made me wonder. Since when does Amanda Waller control Superman? Like, what does she have on him that he would just go because she said go?
I think there's always just been like a connection there. Like it's just like, but I don't think it's control. It's like just sort of like an intel side of things. But yeah, it just sets up that Henry is back is all. But how do we know that? Look at Warner Brothers Discovery. It's already there's already looking like a buyout, which puts more different people in charge. So how is it?
You know what? That's true. I didn't think about that. A year after the Shazam movie comes out, they could possibly be owned by another company.
Yeah.
Can we be completely honest? At the end of Shazam, it's going to be a post-credit scene with headless Superman and headless Black Adam.
And then usually, like when they were setting up the Avengers movie, says like Captain America will return Avengers. Say we couldn't sign Henry Cavill to a contract.
So 3Dub says, I don't think Waller sent him. I think he came on his own free will.
Then how would her thing have known that he was coming?
No, I think it's just an intel thing. It's just like it's almost like we give you this, you give us that. So it's like we'll give you some intel. And you provide us with some support.
What if the bigger picture is they just wanted a cool scene to put as a post-credit scene?
The Rock wanted his friend in this movie. That's all there is.
No, The Rock wanted his business partner in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the biggest like overreactions to something in the world because nothing's been set up. If he had signed a contract and they greenlit Man of Steel,
that's what I said before this even came out. Though I said the same exact thing.
Then I would take more notice of it and go, "Wow, okay, that's interesting that they managed to get all that done." But it was all last minute rushed crap. Like that article came out today that Henry Cavill filmed that in London. Didn't even bother to go film the scene with The Rock and redo it. It was filmed in London.
Also, didn't one of the producers come out and say they were pissed off that it leaked early? I think there was an article where one of the producers.
Well, what do you expect? The Rock leaked it early. The Rock just pretty much just said it. Yeah. As I said, the issue is the issue with this movie is, and I feel bad for The Rock because he's put so much effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it looks like it's gonna open less than Shazam, who had no marketing. Do you remember one piece of marketing outside of bus stop signs and maybe a billboard here and there?
And I remember there were a lot of people trying to make sure it didn't do well. There was a lot of people.
And it came out 3 or 4 weeks before Endgame and like a month after Captain Marvel, which made $1 billion. So people are going to spend their money the month before, and people have had to go spend their money a month after. And people are just the majority of people just aren't made of money. People go see maybe 3-4 movies a year.
So Shazam's worldwide numbers, everything altogether at the end of its run was 365 million.
Yeah, it's just over 350. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel bad because it just looks like it's not going to perform that well. But I'm not even joking. It's the amount of advertising. I was watching the NBA 2 days ago. Black Adam advertising everywhere. I was watching the NFL on Monday. Black Adam advertising.
Do you think they spent
everywhere.
more in advertising for this than they did in any of their recent films? I feel like there's a lot of.
I was watching the 2020 Cricket World Cup. Black Adam, The Rock is randomly there going India versus Pakistan. I'm like, why is The Rock talking about cricket? Has he even picked up a cricket bat? Why is he here talking about cricket? It's those random. I was on Sunday Football. Yeah, well, for me it's Monday, and I was watching. I was like, "What?" There's just so much Black Adam. I'm scrolling through TikTok. There's a Mr. Beast Black Adam collaboration thing. Yep. There's so much Black Adam stuff, and it's not going to
me now. This is why they had to push movies back. They spent so much advertising money on Black Adam. They didn't have any money left to advertise any of these other projects. That's the only reason that makes any sense.
Oh no, I'm not flash this. I'm saying I know cricket's popular. It's popular in Australia. It's on the World Cup's in Australia at the moment. But I'm just saying it's random as hell that that's where they're going to advertise it. But then look at Shazam, which it looks like it's going to open less to or around that same number. And that movie had no advertising and had Zachary Levi in the main role and had no well-known people in there. Mark Strong was probably the most well-known person in the movie. And even then, if you said Mark Strong was someone, they go, who? You'd have to say like the bald dude from Kingsman or something, and they might know who you're talking about.
All right, so right now Shazam's opening weekend domestic was 53 million. and it looks like Black Adam's opening weekend is going to be.
It's 50 to 60. I think that's what they said. 50 to 60.
Yeah. So it's going to open about the same, but I don't think it's going to perform as well long term.
How many years ago was Shazam?
4
years ago. Yeah.
So
No,
the price
3.
of tickets
29.
has gone up probably about $1.50 on average around across the board.
I think it was 3 years ago. I think it was 2019. It was the same year as Endgame, so 2019.
Yeah. But I do remember select theaters, they started showing Shazam at least like a month early. And they
No, they did the
calling
early
it like
screenings.
a special promotion.
It was-
I ended up going early.
It was
No,
God-
I actually,
wasn't
this was Shazam
Fandango?
was the only,
No.
Shazam was the only movie that I actually got an early invite for. The only
Through
one.
Fandango. I said
So-
I'm not even important enough for this.
Yeah, they sent me an early invite through Fandango. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So Shazam had a much smaller production budget, no stars, because even Black Adam has Pierce Brosnan.
So
in there as
Shazam
well.
would actually be more profitable, even if Black Adam makes a little bit more than Shazam, which I don't think is going
It'd
to
be Shazam was more profitable than Man of Steel, which made like almost $700 million. So put that, and Black Adam probably has almost like a Man of Steel budget, I'd assume.
Also, let me just ask this question to the chat. I'm curious what the chat thinks about this, and then we're going to move on to another topic. But if you know you have enough money to go to one movie in the next month, are you going to take your family to see Wakanda Forever, or are you going to take them to see Black Adam?
Well, especially if you've got a family, if you're a family like it's
like
it's
Lance's
you,
family, where you got
a
12
partner,
kids.
yeah, there's 74 kids and another 6 on the way. You know, like that's if you've got a family of 4, even if it's just you and a kid, like two people and a kid, you're going to see Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to see one because it's Marvel as well. Marvel's always going to get the precedence for a lot of people just because of the just familiarity and I guess the consistency as well.
And
But
they're not
also,
going
it's
to
just
spend as
that-
much money advertising because it's a property that's got plenty of fans already.
And also, that you've already had the first movie, it's a sequel, and there's going to be more buzz around it and more talk about it. Black Panther doesn't even have to do any advertising, and it'd still make $1 billion at this point, probably, or get close to it.
I want to say this before you speak, Lance. Though I think it's a fair comparison because they're literally going up against each other in the box office, and it's the same. It's the same genre. That's the only reason why. So I think it's a fair.
Well, I don't know if you compared the box office results between
No.
Black Adam
I'm
and
just
Black
talking about the
Panther.
choice of which movie you're going to go see, where you're going to spend. Your
Yeah,
money.
I think that's a fair thing. But
Yeah.
even though I think just in that, I think that question is probably sits around. It's like the answer is Black Panther. So what's the point of even asking the question?
What are you going to say, Lance?
I was gonna say one. Are we gonna talk about Black Panther because after what they did the other day, the fact that they dropped a new trailer the day Black Adam came out to basically
That shows
Black
Shuri.
Panther.
Yeah. I saw that.
So one, that was hilarious. Two, before we move on from Black Adam, I know the mercenary in the beginning that was just taunting the kid and stopped the car and everything. You should remember him from working with Lynn on Black Lightning. That's that one soldier that was like her friend or whatever. That was really nice. So that was him. And Paige, do you like my shirt today? You didn't comment on it.
What do you look like? You look like high school baseball coach. That's what you look like.
Oh, well, that's better than some of the other stuff they said about you. So I would take that over some of the other stuff that's been said for sure. So Canongraphs, are you going to stick around for our Stargirl discussion, or are you about to head out?
No, I think I'm done.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in. Go check out Canongraph's blog. He's got some new photos up over on his. Go to his Twitter, and actually, I think you can post the link in the chat, maybe.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Give me a second, I'll find it and link it.
Eric Wallace is.
I already closed it down. Cool.
Yeah, Andy says Captain Singh from Flash was in Black Adam too.
Yeah.
Yeah, his kid actually got cast a long time ago, and so that was part of they left Vancouver to obviously go do that. And I guess while he was there, they were just like, hey, you're here. Why don't you work too?
One of the aliens from Naomi was literally Black Adam's first victim.
Wow. They just were reaching for all the DC properties. Total crossover there. So yeah. 3Dub, you can. I'm gonna do a special stream this week. Where I'm gonna have people come on, and so I'll reach out to you then. Hopefully you're free to do it. There's the it doesn't show up as a link over here. There's the link to Canongraph's blog. Thank you, Canongraphs, for stopping in, and go
Have a good one,
blog,
everyone.
and we'll talk to them later.
All right. Bye.
All right, so we're going to talk about this week's episode of Stargirl, which was I didn't get a chance to do a review because I have to watch it so late. Like, it's no point. By the time I put my review up, it's like 2 days later. So until they get this fixed out or this sorted with Verizon and CW, I don't know. Oh wait, Antonio says I heard they didn't film the scene until September. Oh, the post-credit scene.
That's factual.
So there we go. Thank you for the super chat.
It took 6 years to film that the month before the film came out.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. This is a real, like a legit question. Do you think the movie would have had the hype it had that end credit scene not leaked early?
Nope.
No, I think people would have still been like those diehard DC fans. It would have been like your typical Snyder versus Snyder cultists, Ayer cultists versus just people who love seeing DC movies and want to see something do good. It would have just been that.
Yeah. There's no deal with Nexstar and Verizon. They're still expecting them to pay 64% more. So,
Good old Nexstar.
So this episode was Infinity Inc. Part 1. I know a lot of people were saying that they hated that it was on a cliffhanger, but it's literally called Infinity Inc. Part 1. So, I mean, I don't know what you expect. So there you go. This week was a setup episode. There wasn't a lot of resolution. It was mostly building up towards whatever the second half is going to be. Do we know when is Stargirl going to be going on a break very soon or no?
Sorry?
Stargirl going on a break soon or no?
I think it goes on one more break, I'd assume. Wait, how many episodes?
In December. Maybe it's going on break the week of Thanksgiving.
There's 6 more weeks. There's 6 more episodes. No, it probably doesn't go on a break.
Okay.
Maybe one. Maybe the Thanksgiving. Maybe. I don't know. Me not know.
All right. So Andy says Stargirl season 3 finale. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't go on a break. The season finale is in December. So if there is one, it's going to be like a 1 week. No, that would be no breaks. All right. So this episode we deal with 2 storylines, actually 3 if you count the stuff going on with the boys. But I just don't care about that storyline with Mike and Jakeem, and it's. Why is it even a thing? It's so boring. Like
they just need something.
I mean, honestly, is it exciting to you guys? I feel like it's the weakest storyline in the whole season.
I think it's the weakest thing, but I think it's building up to something.
I mean, I hope so. It's really
it doesn't mean it's like a massive thing like a 10 out of 10, but I think there's something there that leans into. I think the issue is that if this is the last season of Stargirl, it just feels like it's a trickling thing that doesn't.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
I did think about this Ragu when they were doing in this episode when they were talking about it. I'm like, this sounds like a really like twisted version of the X Mansion, or like a what is it? Not a school, but more of like a mad scientist lab where they pretend it's a school, kind of sort of.
Like the pit.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Robert says, do you think we're seeing less of the genie in the pen because of Todd's powers being in the show?
It's not really a need to see. We see the pen and we hear the genie talk.
We hear the voice. Like, we don't need to see the genie out all the time. I mean, I know in the comics they do that, but on the show, I don't think it's totally necessary.
It's like in live action, where would he just be out floating randomly for? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
This isn't Aladdin.
Thomas with a £2 super chat. Do you now believe Stargirl's getting canceled? I'm falling into the camp of I'm just accepting this is the final season. I maybe I'm being pessimistic about it, but it feels to me like they're not giving us any indication that they plan on continuing the show. If it gets renewed, I'll be excited, but I'm going to go ahead and prepare for the fact that I think they're going to just announce it as the final season. I don't know. Pagey hates questions like this, so I'm not going to ask him this one. But Lance, what about you? Thoughts on do you think it's getting the final season or no?
I don't want to say yeah, but I mean, it's getting down to the wire. They would have been filming or at least getting ready to go back to film by now. Unless they're just going to do a delayed 4th season.
Right.
I think that they're going to say this is the final season. They're gonna say this is the final season, or they're gonna say it's moving to HBO Max.
Yeah, so this is another thing. Jeff Johns has signed on to be a showrunner for another show. I believe it's called, is it Geiger?
It's Geiger.
Geiger.
It's like the comic that he did.
Yeah,
started last year,
which is also not a good sign for Stargirl.
Well, to be honest, he has said in interviews that he never intended to be the showrunner for the entire time.
True.
What, Eric Wallace taking over Stargirl next season?
Well, no, I think he'd hand it over to James Robinson.
You just have to ruin the joke page. You just laugh sometimes.
It's because it wasn't funny, Lance. So that's the issue at hand there.
So, Thomas, I think that we saw what happened with shows like Tom Swift, and this is why I think the CW is hesitant to make that announcement, because once they announce that a show is ending, the ratings for that show and the value of ad revenue on those seasons just plummet because people stop watching it. So I think that if we're going to find out if Stargirl's coming back or not. So here's the deal. This is why I think we might be in trouble. If the show were getting renewed, they would have already told us, because that would help bolster the ratings for the current season. But if they're not planning on renewing the show, it's better off for them to wait till like the last couple episodes to announce that it's not coming back. So
that's what they did with a bunch of the other shows. Like Tom Swift, I think, got announced. Was it like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before it?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was like canceled like literally a couple of episodes in. Actually, now that I think about it, wasn't it?
What, Tom Swift?
Yeah,
it was like 3 episodes and then it was canceled.
Yeah,
which I don't think had anything to do with the quality of the show. I think it was just one of those shows because of the acquisition, the sale. Yeah, probably.
The thing with Stargirl is that I do wonder if, and I saw someone mention this to me. It was like they do wonder if that's what the Titans cameo is, and that's why they went out of their way to do it. It doesn't really make too much sense that she'd show up. And it's because to give some sort of closure to that character.
Yeah, Andy's saying it's up in the air, but I feel like that's probably just optimistic speak about it. Like
that's what they said about Naomi.
No offense, Andy. I mean, you're probably right. That's what people are saying. But I feel in my soul that they're probably gonna not move forward with Star.
But to be fair, isn't it like its top 4 at the moment?
It is. But the other thing is, somebody brought this up.
They've only got like 3 of their other better shows, or 2 of their better shows to come back. And one is ending, which is The Flash.
The actual, yeah, you're right. I know 3Dub Swamp Thing was canceled before the show even aired. That was a weird one.
No, one episode.
Yeah,
one episode aired, and then
that had to do nothing with the quality of the show and a bunch of other stuff going on behind the scenes, including taxation write-offs for production. Where they were filming.
Do you remember like it was canceled, and like I think James Wan was doing something. He might have been filming a movie, so didn't even know about he found out like it was like 2 days after. He came on Instagram and was like, I don't know what happened. I don't know why it was canceled.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So this is the other thing. Yeah, HBO Max. See you later, Cal. Have a good night. HBO Max is on the verge of collapsing itself, thanks to Discovery. Well, this is the thing. I don't know why, because I see this a lot on Facebook as well. People don't seem to understand that HBO Max is not going to be a thing in like 7 months.
It's going to be Discovery Plus Max.
Or Discovery Max. It might just be Discovery Max. That might be what they go with.
Oh, you sound like that old guy that's on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, saying that something is let's save it by moving it to HBO Max. That's not saving it.
Yeah,
HBO Max stuff is getting canceled.
No, somebody really got on Facebook today. You know, Facebook is full of weirdos. Yeah. They said, this is why I wish Stargirl was on Netflix. It would have been renewed by now. I said, are you new? Netflix cancels things literally the day after they come out. Like, where do you live at? What has Netflix said?
Well, here's the deal, though.
Only waiting for Sandman season 2. Like.
I know, exactly. Also, Netflix is reportedly on an upswing because they're doing that crackdown on accounts, and their money is going up now. So we'll see. All right. So in this episode of Stargirl, as we continue, we got the storyline with Shade and Jenny and Obsidian, and the Helix Institute, and all of that. That was really exciting, and I'm really glad that they picked up the storyline from Eclipso with the ring and the Shadowlands energy going into the ring. I honestly forgot about that. I was like, I thought that was just part of last season's storyline. I didn't even think about that being something that would carry over, but I guess it makes sense. So now they're being affected both her and Shade are being affected by the, I guess, contamination of both of their power sources. Which, how does that work when it comes to Green Lantern stuff? I feel a little bit confused on that.
Well, the thing we got to remember, one of the Green Lantern rings and the Green Lantern Corps' biggest weaknesses is fear, and that's what the Shadowlands encompass and feed off. So that's going to be an interesting thing in next episode is how that plays into things. Oh, hello, Harry. Yeah, Ron as well. Scabbers, Hedwig. Oh, by the way, R.I.P. Hagrid. Forgot to mention it last.
Yeah, we did. We forgot to mention that.
Matt, that's when you know you're getting old, when Hagrid's.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, that was bad.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
It was pretty sad.
Yeah,
R.I.P. Hagrid, aka Eric Doppelganger.
Really?
Eric has many doppelgangers.
But I will say that the storyline with this is probably going to sound really bad because I've been enjoying the season, but I have to say the storyline with the Green Lantern and Shade stuff has kind of reinvigorated my interest in like.
Well, I think it's because this is what we were expecting this season. We were wondering when's Mr. Bones going to come play into it because we knew it was going to involve Todd Rice. That casting was announced ages ago that Todd Rice was going to be in this season of Stargirl. So it was like, when's it going to play? And I knew it was going to be that slow build because that's usually what a murder mystery is, and like a whodunit. It's like that slow build up, and you get little crumbs and miscues and decoys and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Though I'm still not sure what's going on because I just don't think it's that clear that Mr. Bones did it. I don't either. That said that like it's Mr. Bones has like either Brainwave's body or Brainwave Jr.'s body, and he's the one that did it. And then that's why they've been referencing back to Sylvester's sister, Mary.
That's a deep one. Wow, I didn't even think about that.
If that plays out, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
If that's a theory that plays out where it's either Brainwave or Brainwave Jr. I think it'd be better if it was Brainwave just because we left Brainwave Jr. as like more heroic with Henry, so Henry King Jr.
What were you going to say, Lance, as well?
Oh, no, I was saying that was actually a genius idea, like what Pagey's saying.
Yeah, no, that was great. I had never heard about that. The other thing is we also got the storyline with them basically addressing Our Man and, obviously some stuff with Yolanda. Very little with Yolanda. Basically, her family is awful, and they've been awful since season 1. And so now she's got to find a place to stay. And that was kind of her storyline this week. But then we had to deal with the cameras, which Beth and, Our Man were going. Well, should he be called 24-Hour Man now, I guess, instead of Our Man?
Day Man.
Yeah.
Day Man. No, full year, 365.
But this is obviously the addiction storyline is something they're going to have to deal with along with whatever else is going on.
Doing a whole lot. And
it was a lot of extra. When he punched the column in the school, I was like, what's... Really? Like, why? He's on some other stuff for sure.
He just hit the desk for no reason. Beth's like, can you stop? It feels good.
I need to flex.
You need to flex by punching somebody's desk. And I can. It just turned off. Or whatever. I can already tell you. I can guarantee you, it was Cameron's desk that he punched.
I wonder if we're going to get a fight between Our Man and Icicle Jr. If that's going to be the fight that we're going to see. Because they don't like each other already. So the fact that he's gassing up, as Pagey would say, gassing up on his hourglass, which by the way, it's so funny that he even has to wear it anymore because it's like it doesn't make any sense. But
he ties it to his side.
I feel like they did it this way because obviously, and Pagey, would you agree they didn't want to do like an injection of drug storyline like what they would have done?
Yeah, that would have been too bad. But also, that was ages ago, and they've updated it to like even in season 1, like it's the hourglass that flips over, but it's sort of like a nod to that where it was a drug and addiction and everything.
Can we also
like
give a shout out to Stargirl's special effects team? They're just really good. Like, I don't know if it's the same team.
Well, this proves like what giving extra time after a production's done does to VFX, because the Flash looks very good when it has that extra time to do the VFX, and when they only have like X amount, like a really short amount of time between rapid production to airing of episode, where you get some of those dodgy VFX. But Stargirl's always pretty consistent.
You mean the Supergirl pre-crisis episodes?
Well, what happened in those ones?
Remember when they were fighting Malafa'ak and Martian
flew,
Manhunter?
like
She flew.
Oh, that one. Well, I think that was mainly a daytime issue.
All I'm going to say about that is that scene in particular was like one where they were like, we just have to make it happen. Go into Photoshop. And
I think it was like one of those ones where they filmed it. It didn't work out maybe on set. And it's just one of those ones where they couldn't go back and film.
Because all they did was they cut her out of a shot and then dragged her across the screen. That was all that was.
And didn't Black Lightning do something in an episode as well? Didn't like Cress slide or something? Or like the stunt double do like a sliding thing?
Oh,
maybe Black Lightning once as well. I think he does like a flip and then they slide him down or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I do remember that, but
it wasn't as like blatant as the Supergirl one. Like the Supergirl one literally looks like a.
But I went back and was watching scenes from the final season of Black Lightning, and Lance was right. Like you can see the mask with the strap on it with the guy that's like the stunt man, like as Black Lightning. Like it's literally like a really bad, like almost a Halloween mask.
Yeah,
really.
And
bad.
your mic just did something weird.
Yeah, it's like it sounded like you dipped it in water or something. It's back to normal.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it sounded like you went underwater, scuba diving or something.
Weird. Anyway, so we had that, and then obviously the stuff with Mr. Bones, which I'm glad we're finally getting to that. Do you think we're still dealing with him? I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that he's the one running the cameras, right? I mean,
well, yeah, he's the one running the cameras, but I think it's more why, because they were there before the Gambler's murder. Is it just so they have an eye over the superheroes? Because at the end of last season, that Louise Love tells him about Blue Valley, and he's like, well, let's take a trip there. But they never did. They just set the cameras there, unless that was the trip that it was. And obviously, there was that long period of time between the end of last season and this season.
Didn't they say 6 months, though? They did a flashback. It was 6 months ago?
It was like the end of summer to the beginning of school.
Yeah.
So like at least like a few months.
Yeah.
Not too sure exactly how long.
Look at this. Ragu says Chris Williams just phoned in his performance in the final season. He didn't put any effort into season 4. His scenes with China and McClane were spliced with and looked bad.
Yep.
I'm not going to argue against that. So Feather Guardian says Rick, Yolanda, and Beth have to accept that villains can change as they aren't beyond redemption. I guess talking about like the stuff with Cindy and basically any of them. It's really weird because Rick believes that Solomon Grundy can be a redeemed character, but he doesn't seem to feel that way about anybody else. Right? Isn't that a little weird?
We know that Rick isn't the brightest one out of the bunch.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
So when the big ending of the episode, like the cliffhanger is they go to Helix to rescue her brother, and he's in this machine that's, I guess, trying to brainwash him, is what I was gathering from that. It was like a brainwashing machine, but he's like, I can destroy the world or whatever. And then we see this really cool effect where he turns into like this shadow creature or whatever and pulls in some of our characters into the Shadowland. And did you think we'd ever see this again? I didn't think we'd ever go back to this place, to be honest.
Well, I assumed we would in some way, and that's just because he's an actual gateway, Obsidian.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can just access the Shadowlands quite easily. So I assumed if his powers were going to come into play that we would. I wasn't expecting the Shade and Pat specifically to go in there. And also we already went in there with Courtney last year. So I guess that's why you're going in there with Pat and the Shade.
And Courtney doesn't have the staff. Oddly enough, that was left behind because he's like, we don't need the staff. We just need her. And then they get sucked into the Shadowland. But this is a good setup for the next episode. I would say this episode for me is probably one of the most exciting ones of the season, but it's because we've been waiting for some sort of payoff.
This
and I feel like this yeah. So I enjoyed it. I wish I could watch it live. That would be nice if I could see it like the night of, but
well, that was the interesting thing. The irony of this week's episode is that I sat down to watch it and 5 minutes in I had a blackout. And that's exactly what happens in the episode. Exactly what happens in the episode. So I couldn't watch it until like much later when it aired on TV here.
Oh wow!
I had to wait till like 6 o'clock my time, and it aired at 11 a.m. in America.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Paigey.
Thank you.
I had a
Thank you for
blackout. I had a blackout Friday that lasted until Saturday morning. So
Wow.
Well, common Lance L. So
So I'm gonna go ahead and give a score for this episode. I think this was a really solid, like 8.5 ish for me. It was a really good episode. I don't really have any complaints. I just think the storyline with the boys is very weak. But outside of that, didn't have an issue with it. What about you guys? You enjoy this one? Was it one of your favorites? Not one of your favorites? What did you think?
I enjoyed it, but I also want to see next. I guess technically this week's episode to get the second half of it. Because when it's a part one, you just sort of see what they set up, and I did like the setup. I think the episode was a bit slow, but I think that was only really in the first half, and that was intentional to then lead into everything like that. So, yeah, I think it sets up next week pretty well. I'm interested to see how everything plays out. And there's still that was the halfway mark of the season, so there's still half a season to go. So still much more to look forward to.
And Lance, your thoughts on this episode? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah. I also liked how they tied back to when we saw the Shade at the beginning of the season, how he had like all the green particles.
It wasn't time sickness.
Yeah. They tied that together nicely. I like that. Their banter between him and Jenny. I like meeting Todd for the first time. It was cool. I give this episode like a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. I just wish we got a little more action. Just send some goons after Rick and at the school. Let them stretch those muscles. That way, they're gonna go back to school Monday and they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, what happened to all this stuff?" And he's gonna be sitting there smirking like, "I don't know."
My mic is making a weird noise, isn't it? I can hear it now.
That's you. I thought it was me.
No, when I talk, it does it. Let me try muting it and unmuting it.
Yeah, it's Eric.
Yeah, it is me. I need to figure that out. I don't know what that is.
I know what it is.
What is it?
It's your stomach. It's growling.
Well, Google get breaker.
It's
I deserve an apology.
Were they saying it was you?
Yeah, like he's just spammed like 12 times.
Well, to be fair, you have to forgive him because the assumption would be.
Oh wait, no, I can hear. Wait, hold on, stop, Paigey. When you talk, I hear it too. Go ahead, Paigey.
Hi, my name's Banana. Oh yeah.
Do you hear it too when he talks?
No, I don't. I didn't hear it at all. Like,
so it is coming from Lance.
Is it? Because I don't hear it.
Let me mute you and then I'm going to say something. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
It's Lance.
Yeah, it is Lance. It is. It's 100% Lance. I don't know what it is, but it is Lance.
Now Jabruka has to apologize to Lance. Lance has to apologize to Jabruka.
Wait,
hold on. I'm going to mute Lance and watch it'll stop on my end. There we go. So now it goes away. So I don't know what it is on Lance's end that's doing it, but it's definitely Lance.
I don't think
the great mystery.
Hold on.
It's gone.
Yeah.
What was it? You Fruit Loop.
It's my space heater out here.
It's probably just because it's so close to you on the desk. That's probably what it is.
I don't have central air in this room. This is built for like a patio, and it's getting cold. So
yeah.
Lance's next video on his channel will be I apologize, Google Jabruka. Please forgive me.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. We've covered all of the topics. I'm doing a members only stream tomorrow. It'll be for everyone to watch, but if you want to chat in the stream, you have to be a Team Eric member. And that'll be around the same time as the after party tomorrow. And I'll go on for about an hour. And I might have some special guests. 3Dub wants to jump in. I know a couple other people have asked, and Andy wanted to jump on and chat for a bit. Tomorrow will be a good time to do that in the members only stream. So if you guys want to come and check that out, you can. And we'll probably talk about Black Adam spoilers for people that have seen it, but I'll save that for the end of the stream tomorrow. So if you want to stop in, you can. If you want to watch, you'll be able to. But if you want to chat, you have to be a Team Eric member. So there you go. But it'll be available for people to watch afterwards. They can leave comments. So there we go. That's it.
Can we quickly talk about how Michael B. Jordan was definitely in that Black Panther suit?
Oh, from the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing going from being that built for Creed to just looking like a female body. He worked out.
Well, I will say though that the one thing I saw from the shots in it with the gauntlets, with the Shuri gauntlets, is that I'm pretty sure that her Black Panther suit is going to be an enhancement suit. She's not going to have she's not going to be getting anything from the spiritual realm.
And those things, like, they start up here. So Shuri's been cold, but if like those things can move just because she thinks about
it. Do you think they're going to do the story where she gets rejected?
Yes, probably.
And then that's just like, well, I have to do something, and that's where she goes over the top and builds
I absolutely think it's good, because that would set up the potential for another Black Panther in the third
or
movie.
them to actually. Well, I guess it depends if T'Challa's actually dead,
right?
Because is that being confirmed? If he's actually
dead,
dead?
It's been over a year. This movie picks up a year after his death.
But maybe they believe that he's dead. Maybe he crashed into.
Oh, you mean like maybe he comes back in the third movie and looks different? Is that what you're saying?
He's in the post-credit scene, and it's it's Yahya. It's Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
No, it's Ryan Gosling.
Oh Jesus!
I also want to say that so Comics Explained, which is a pretty big channel here on YouTube, posted out a tweet. Let's see, where is it at? I'm gonna find it. Posted out a tweet about Black Panther, and where's it at? Right here. I thought I was gonna get blocked from this, but I didn't. I'm gonna show this on screen and then we'll wrap everything up.
Yeah, that's also true. Ragu says the multiverse thing will probably just bring in a new T'Challa.
Yeah. So he posted on his alt account, which is Geek Culture Explained, thinking about how if the MCU didn't kill off Killmonger and Black Panther, he could have had a really compelling story arc being called to lead Wakanda after T'Challa's passing. And my response to that was, which almost has as many likes as his, it was almost a ratio.
I was gonna say this would be the first time in the history of the world you've ever ratioed someone.
It's almost a ratio. If y'all want to
almost a W.
If y'all want to go over there on Twitter and change the tide, it's very close. I said I don't think so. His entire story arc was the antithesis to what Wakanda believed in. To have him return to fill that role would have undermined everything they believed in and that Wakanda values and its leaders. I loved Killmonger, but for me, this would be romanticism. And the reason why I say that is because if you change what happened to Killmonger in the final scene, because I went back and watched the movie recently, you would have to change the entire movie. You would have to change the entire story of Killmonger. Because when he came to Wakanda, he knew exactly what he wanted to do as a leader. He also wasn't going to change for anybody. Look at everything he did leading up to that. There was no way he was going to change. And at the end of the movie, he's like, even if you save me, I'm going to be in bondage for the rest of my life. I'll be locked away for what I did in Wakanda. There's no reality where after the events of Black Panther 1, he would ever be the king of Wakanda and be their Black Panther. There's no reality where that would have happened. I'm sorry, there's none. Because look, they wouldn't even give the shield to Bucky. Do you think they're going to give the crown to Killmonger? And people are like, oh, well, it's called character progression. And I'm like, but think about it. Like, T'Challa changed the way he led Wakanda after what happened with Killmonger, which meant that was a character progression for him and not for Killmonger, because Killmonger did not change. Also, in the What If series, it shows that Killmongers in other realities still have the same personalities.
Yeah.
So that wasn't an option for that character. And if you ask me, it takes away everything from that character. It takes away everything that they did in that first film. So as much as I would love to see Killmonger back in the MCU, I would not want to see Killmonger as the next Black Panther leading Wakanda. I would rather see M'Baku before I saw Killmonger.
And to talk about the M'Baku stuff, he's leaning more towards the man-ape side of things in this movie. People really need to do their research. He would never serve the god Bast because he has his own god.
Yeah.
Nakia is okay with being the spy. Okoye is busy being the general. And thing with Killmonger, people saying they could resurrect her. Think about it this way: it's been 8 years since he died in the MCU timeline. He died in 2018. It's about 2025 when this movie is set in. If we're to make a guesstimate, you mean to tell me they aren't going to bring him back, resuscitate him to help with Thanos, a person that's literally snapping his fingers and erasing people. But right. let's go get this guy who's been asleep for 8 years, not knowing if he got blipped, not knowing if his dead body got blipped away.
Yeah.
Not knowing what happened during that time, if Greg got built over on in 5 years, whatever happened. Let's bring him back to help us with a mutant that has wings on his feet.
Yeah. I will say this, Michael B. Jordan as a multiversal T'Challa Black Panther would make more sense than it changing the one from the main continuity.
Exactly.
That would be fine. I'd be okay with that. And M'Baku serves, I can never pronounce this, Hanuman, and donned that mask in the first movie when fighting T'Challa, who donned the Black Panther. Right. So if M'Baku became the king, he would serve his god, not the Panther god. So
it's not set during the blip at all, Thomas. It's set after the blip because Shuri was also blipped. I'm pretty sure Queen Ramonda was blipped as well.
Well, that's the thing. He asked is to be buried with his ancestors. So yes, I would assume if they honored his wishes, that's where he would have been.
Ooh, Namor finds it. Scientific engineering, robot.
I wouldn't be surprised if the beginning of their conflict with Wakanda has something to do with that. I would not be shocked, to be completely honest.
Don't dump in the sea. What's the
yeah.
We don't want this dead body.
Maybe what he took to become a Black Panther infects something in the ocean when they dump him. Maybe that's how that happens.
And
wait, say that again.
Well, because if he was connected to that spiritual realm, which means that if they dump him in the ocean, maybe something that he took in his body, that alien spiritual whatever, somehow affected the ocean, and that's why that kind of starts the war between Namor and them.
we gotta rethink that whole thing about Atuma being like his comic book. Like, he may be a big idiot jerk like he is in the comic books, but they don't hate Namor.
Right.
They idolize him because he is different. Like, this is a different take on Namor. Completely.
I actually think Namor, I mean, unless they change the way they make these movies, he's going to do like he does in the comics. He will be fighting against Wakanda, and then at a certain point, he's going to find out that he needs to fight with them.
Yeah.
Against his people. And that's going to do like it's done in the comics where he's kind of exiled for a while.
Somebody said Killmonger's body fell on Namor's roof.
Yeah.
That's why he's pissed at Wakanda.
Maybe. We'll see.
People are going to be mad about the way he says his name now, too.
I know. It is what it is.
Was it always Namor? Is that just...
That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
That's just because of the influence of like the culture of what it is. Paige, can I hear you say? Can I hear you say Namor again?
Namor.
No. Say it the way it's supposed to be.
Namor.
No. Don't say the new version. Roll the R. I like that, Paige. That's how you should do it.
Namor. We're going Namor. That's how it'll be in the French accent. Namor.
The other thing is that if Shuri doesn't get rejected, it wouldn't make sense that T'Challa is not there to guide her.
Well, are they going to do the thing? Is it specifically saying that it's the Aztecs that got swamped into the water? Is that what they're saying?
I think maybe that's
because I think we talked about that, how they could do the thing where they got like poisoned by people that try to like colonize and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that'd be a fairly interesting thing.
I think that might be
it'd actually be very accurate. You couldn't have a go at it. You couldn't go to the Geeks and Gamers stuff going, "Oh my god, woke," because it's accurate. It's just that they fled to the waters.
Yeah. So
There you
yeah,
go.
Lord Genome here goes, I got the impression you could talk to specific ancestors' family in the play, not just anyone. So maybe, but I feel like T'Challa would definitely be there if she were to
It
go.
could definitely work if they did like a body double. They never show the face, and he doesn't actually speak. It could still work.
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about Black Panther here, not Black Adam with Superman lands. Just thought I'd give you a heads up.
I'm sorry.
I would be very shocked if Wakanda Forever doesn't make $1 billion.
It'd have to be crap. It'd have to get bad reviews, I think. It'd have to get bad reviews. I think that's what.
Before
and it's
we
not
go-
going to.
Before we go, can I comment on Feather Guardian?
It's not recasted, it's recast. Is that what you're going to say?
Yes, but also I was going to say, I get that argument 100%. You know, I would have been fine either way. But think about it this way. You have those toxic fanboys who would have boycotted the hell out of this movie, who would have been saying, oh, you're disrespecting Chadwick Boseman. They would have been jumping in the new actors' inboxes on every social media platform, bullying, hashtag not my T'Challa, yada, yada, yada. You have to also think about the fact that these people had to go and film this film right after his death.
Okay, I want to touch on that briefly because I think that's something people seem to miss. All right, and I want to make this clear one time and one time only because I've talked about it on social media before. The people in this movie are not the fucking characters. They're human beings. Everyone, Ryan and everyone attached to this movie talked about how difficult it would be to go back and film this movie after the death of Chadwick. And that the movie was such a big inspirational movie when it came out, and the filming on set was such a family atmosphere. To go back and recast that character and have to film the sequel without ever properly getting to say goodbye to someone that they considered a friend and a family member is asking way too much of the people involved with this film. Can they eventually introduce a new T'Challa? Yes. There's a multiverse. It's a comic book world. But I think we need to stop acting like these actors are not human beings and they could just go on set and pretend that none of this ever happened. Because Chadwick was a very influential actor who had a lot of humanitarian efforts outside of Black Panther that connected very much with the people around him. So I think this idea of quote unquote recast T'Challa is just, it's a bit disrespectful to the people who were involved with the production of the film. And it's short-sighted, in my opinion. Can we talk about it at some point? Yes, I think it's absolutely okay to talk about another person becoming T'Challa, a multiversal version of T'Challa. To expect this entire family of people to go back and film a sequel with a recast is just, I don't know, it bothers me. I don't know why. It bothers me because I can't imagine going back to work. Like, can you imagine you're working in a restaurant and someone that you've worked with to make this restaurant that's been a big impact in your community or whatever, and they are one of your main people, they're your head chef, they're a manager or whatever, and they pass away on a Friday, and then you come back on a Saturday and there's a new head chef there, and you're told, hey, you can't show any feeling or remorse about what happened. Just go back to work.
It's more just like people are asking to like pretend that it never happened.
Right.
Yep.
That's what people are saying. Now, I've said before that I think they should recast if the movie was like, let's just say like it was, I don't know, when did Black Panther come out? 2018?
Yep.
So say Chadwick had passed in 2019 or something, but they had no intention to do the sequel until maybe 2024, 25. So they wouldn't have started filming until 2023, 2024, something like that. That's enough time to let things, where there's time for, people to grieve and for them to work out what they want to do if they wanted to recast at that point. But they had to delay filming
because the original script was already done
and rewrite everything that involved T'Challa to then include other characters. So there's probably characters that they have probably the same dialogue in there in some scenes, but it's different characters.
Yeah, look, this was very recent. Look,
2020.
Remember how recent this was? This was very recent.
Yep. And what would and another thing to think about, if this didn't happen, if Chadwick had, kept kicking and, just was dealing with the sickness, what would you all's thinking have been if he was in the sequel, but was still too skinny and frail to be the Black Panther,
Yeah.
what would you be saying?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, would y'all still be crying, bring back Killmonger?
Like I saw people using
saying Shuri. What, like
I saw people
difference?
like I saw people using the Harry Potter reference because you know how like the guy that played Dumbledore died after the second movie.
Yep.
Well, the like Dumbledore, yeah, but like that's not that main character. That's a guy that maybe shows up in like total 15, 20 minutes of the movie.
This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This does not matter. His brother and whatever supposed fun fact was said that was never actually officially confirmed does not matter when it comes to other people's feelings. You can't expect the people on set to go, well, he said it's okay, so I'm going to pretend like I'm not upset.
Yeah, but that doesn't really have anything to do with the fact of like
it does not.
It's regardless of that and what anyone thinks about recasting. The base thing it comes down to is timing. The movie was set to be there. Marvel's not going to move it because it was obviously going to play into certain things, but they could delay it to some degree. So it's like, well, how do you work around this while also honoring Chadwick and not disrespecting what came before? And this is what they've done. And
I think it's the best way to do it. Everyone who's on this hashtag recast T'Challa thing, you guys are in a very small minority of people. Almost everyone that I know in my personal life and people that I interact with online are excited to see how they're going to say goodbye to Chadwick in this movie. So we will get another Black Panther. It may not be Shuri. It may be a multiversal version. This movie is doing exactly what everybody involved in the process of making it. Kevin Feige signed off on this. This is what they want to do to honor someone who came in to a role that Ike did not want to happen because they didn't think that a Black superhero would make a lot of money for Marvel, and broke $1 billion. Y'all stop downplaying that shit. It's really fucking annoying. Maybe they will recast Black Panther later on, but let them have this movie to say goodbye to him. Stop being unemotional, like just oppressive bullshit coming in people's yard and pissing on their feelings. It's just not cool. It's not.
Oh, people talking about they just don't want to see the Black man shine. Like, you got people that look like me saying this. I'm like, that's a dumb argument. Like, why can't we just have this film?
But is it also
goodbye? Like, what's wrong?
Is it also a sexist thing?
Yes, it very much is.
Because it is going to be Shuri. Because it's clearly going to be Shuri. It's clearly going to be Shuri.
It's a sexist thing. It's people being mad because those rumors about her not wanting to get vaccinated and her slowing down production of the film. And I'm like, hello, first of all, those were rumors. Secondly, COVID slowed down the production of this film.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, she sent out those silly tweets. So
yeah, she did. Those tweets,
she didn't help us in that regard.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not here to judge anything on that. Like, do what you want.
I'm not a fan of her being difficult with the filming process because of her choices. I get that. But as a human being, she's allowed to mourn and grieve in that process with the other people on set. It's ridiculous. All right, let's answer the super chat and then we're going to head out. Antonio with the 1-9 super chat. Is it possible Killmonger knew about Namor? Maybe, but I don't know if
that's Namor.
I could just hear Killmonger talking to T'Challa. Yeah, cuz it's this guy under the sea.
Well, I thought you were gonna say that he's gonna start singing Dane Martin or something.
Maybe. I don't know if he did or if he didn't, but I will say that if it was, because I don't even know if this was ever the plan for the sequel originally. This may not have even been in the cards, because I think that Ryan said at a certain point, this movie was going to originally focus on T'Challa's role as king and the weight of that role. So I don't know if Namor was ever going to be part of
the role. Might have been small.
I think I used to say it a different way, because I used to say Shang-Chi as Shang-Chi for a long time, so I had to like retrain myself to say it correctly.
Feather Guardian's next tweet is actually wow.
What?
Oh God.
Which one? Tweet? His next tweet?
I mean, not tweet. His comment. I will give Wakanda Forever a shot, and I promise I will enjoy it as much as I can. But I'm worried of the MCU's future, and because of She-Hulk, I'm afraid, because to me, T'Challa is Wakanda.
Okay, whatever. Goodbye. All right. Gary Gaman here with the 499 super chat. Are you mad at me? Is the Flash getting delayed later than January? Not mad at you. And the Flash, it's a possibility it could get delayed later than January. It could be like a
Nexstar says, you know what? Forget it.
If they do that after these pictures of Red Death comes out, that would be. Could you imagine? We've decided not to air the final season of The Flash.
I'm gonna be mad, and I'm gonna go find Javicia myself. Comfort her.
What do you mean by that?
Give her a hug. What do you mean?
We talked about Black Adam in the middle of this broadcast, so if you want to watch it, you can go back and see that, or you can tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a spoiler chat about it as well. Yes, I did a Flash recasting video yesterday. Google Geobruker. Go check that out. It went up last night. Yes, no House of Dragon spoilers, please, because I know it leaked early. So, all right.
Oh, that was so annoying. I can't believe that happened.
I know.
I tend to turn. I haven't been on TikTok for like 2 days because of that.
Yeah, TikTok is the worst place for spoilers because you can't if you swipe, it's like that's it. You're gonna get the
Spider-Man No Way Home got spoiled for me on TikTok.
Yeah,
I literally could not get on.
TikTok is the worst for that because you can block words on Twitter, but on TikTok you cannot. So,
by the way, it's very annoying. There's not gonna be anything on TV to watch. Except for Stargirl Weekly until next year. Because Rings of Power and House of Dragon. Rings of Power ended last week and House of Dragon ended this week.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, so by the way, I didn't get your Rings of Power thoughts. Did you like the finale?
Yeah. Yeah, I was enjoying the show. Thought it was good. I don't want to talk about it too much because that is very spoilery. So I'll just say that I did enjoy it. And yeah, I'm not caught up on Andor. No spoilers on that.
I heard it was still trash.
It's good, but it's not it's a very it's a murder mystery in the Star Wars universe. It's really good. If you like that kind of stuff, it's a very similar story to what's going on in Stargirl. So if you like that kind of story, then yeah. Yes, John Campea did ruin No Way Home. So
and then try to pretend that it was a fake image because he realized he stuffed up.
Also, before we go, if you haven't played Gotham Knights, I will say it actually is a fun game.
I'm not buying
if you're playing it on a system that can run it, because I've seen some really bad videos of like choppiness in that game. So
the only games I pre-ordered,
Flex. It's actually fun.
Yeah.
The only games I pre-ordered God of War Ragnarok last night, and I pre-ordered Hogwarts Legacy. They're the only 2 games I'm smashing out FIFA.
Yeah.
But I don't have enough time. I was gonna say I could show you my team.
No, we're gonna get out of here. I've got to
work. Like a team. Oh, they're back.
Stagger with 1 super chat. How many DC movies are we getting in 2023? Right now, 4 total if they all come out. So
4?
We're getting Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle. Aquaman got moved. So no, 3. We got 3 in No,
Aquaman's end of next year.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why did someone try to tell me it was the Christmas of the following? People on Twitter are idiots. They're like, "Oh no, it got moved back another year." So yeah,
it's not over 2 hours. 2 hours, 2 years from now. It's end of next year. Shazam's in March. Flash in June. Or Shazam May.
So 4 if Blue Beetle comes out, but I'm still skeptical about Blue Beetle. So we're gonna.
Is Joker? No, Joker's 2024.
Yeah,
was Joker next year?
No,
it's 2024. Are you gonna become the Joker?
No. Not gonna happen.
You don't have Halloween. Can we get Halloween Joker? Or is Halloween Eric?
Let me just say this: enjoy the 4 DC movies we get this year, because we're probably only going to get 1 the year after that, and then none for like 10 years. So just be prepared. Nothing is in production.
Well, actually, I've heard there's a rumor there's just going to be a movie of Henry Cavill cameos. Because he wouldn't sign a contract.
They've not started Batman 2. There's no stuff about they keep saying there's going to be stuff a Flash sequel, but who knows what's going to happen with that.
I think it's
the Miller redemption arc. Actually, you know what?
Ben and Lois is safe for now.
I think they're going to release a 3-hour movie, and it's just going to be like an edited version of Ezra Miller's court case, and it's going to call it The Trial of the Flash. So it's going to be a very interesting movie. Keep your eyes out for that one. Yeah. And that might be out. Have you ever heard of a superhero sequel coming out the year after? I mean, 2024. Keep your eyes.
So here's my prediction. We're going to answer the super chat. My prediction: no more topics. All right. So my prediction is, if they greenlight a Man of Steel sequel, it's going to be at least 2 years before that comes out. A Flash sequel.
Longer.
will probably be 2
4.
years. Wonder Woman, if they don't start doing something soon, probably 3 years. Aquaman, it took them 5 years to get the sequel out, so I don't know when the sequel for that one's going to come out. If they don't have stuff in production within the next 6 or 7 months, it's going to be a couple of years before we get another DC movie, other than the Joker sequel.
Well, yeah, I think it depends whatever Matt Reeves is doing, whether he's actually. I don't think you're going to get any of those Batman spin-offs in films. I just don't know how you could sell that outside of like a Joker and maybe like a. You'd have to think the HBO Max series. I just don't know how, unless they're really cheap.
So keep in mind that as much as people seem to hate Walter Hamada, right? There's a lot of people that don't like Walter Hamada, and that's fine. But he understood that what Disney is doing keeps making money for them, and that is making sure you have smaller things in between your bigger stuff. And that's why he wanted to do stuff like Batgirl and Blue Beetle and all of these smaller films as like things in between things, like a smaller mid-budget project in between your like blockbuster project.
Yeah,
this
like,
is
that's
why
the thing.
People that are praising Zaslav, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, that's the thing. If people want to criticize Hamada because of the whole Ray Fisher thing, that's fair enough, even though I don't agree with it. I think Walter Hamada was hung up on a line in front of zombies and going, dinner time. But he handled the DCU extremely well. Have you looked at the movies under his thing? It's insane if you compare it to what came before. He did a very good job.
DC,
that's why,
but other Warner Brothers things.
Well, even the Conjuring stuff, yeah. And he's not taking a producing deal. He's just taking his payout, and he's probably just going to retire. And going, well, I've made enough money, I can just retire. So he's like, okay, we'll sweat him out of here. But he, as you're saying, like made sure there was like a consistent flow of films and made sure there was stuff there. Didn't have to be box office breaking because there was other stuff that was going to be there. And we got some of that stuff coming out next year with The Flash and potentially Aquaman 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other one you're talking about? Oh, the Blue Beetle. I don't know how that
could
make
a lot of money. Just the other smaller movies. Yeah, the other smaller movies.
So yeah, and that's why. And I was saying to you, I might have mentioned like a video of mine as well. I'm surprised they let go of him at this point because it's a transition period where you needed someone who had been there and had the experience. So unless there's someone there that was under Hamada that can somewhat fill that void and advise, what's their name, DeLuca?
Yeah, DeLuca and Abdi.
Abdi. I was going to say Aldi or something. But DeLuca and Abdi, if there's someone like an advisor that was just under Hamada, which probably wouldn't have been the just person under because that's probably someone that was attached to Hamada, then I guess that's fair enough. But letting him go at this stage is a risky thing. It's a risky thing. And especially if Black Adam does not perform and there's even more question marks put on the DCEU, there's still the drama, like all that drama with stuff going next year, especially with Flash. And just if we don't know how Shazam's going to perform as well, right? Like that's a sequel to a movie that didn't do that great. It was profitable, but didn't do that great. So it just puts question marks on it. And then there's still the talk about the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery could be bought out again. So there's just a new regime that comes in potentially,
which would once again put everything up in the air in terms of
like I know on Twitter you see Jim Lee smiling and stuff, but in the back of his head he's thinking, what is going on?
Right.
Like, what is going on? Like, he's the head of DC. And
at this point, I would just love for DC to be sold to someone else that knows what they want to do with it. That's just
I love the fact that when you have a DC movie, you get the Warner Brothers logo that comes up. Warner Brothers is the best studio in Hollywood in regards to being like iconic, being iconic and stuff like that. And you love seeing the Warner Brothers and the DC like before and after each other. But it's just too fluid at the moment. What's going on over there? You just don't know in 6 months, 12 months, 24 months who's heading it up because Zaslav just has. It just seems like he has no clue.
So
he's getting rid of people that have a clue and have experience there, might know what to do.
So Antonio here with the 198 super chat. Chadwick was literally just in What If, and it was sad. Yes, that was very sad, and that is part of the reason why I think it's okay for people to be able to say goodbye. And you have to remember, the general public is not us. The general public is a group that goes to see movies that doesn't live in this community all the time. So they haven't had a chance to properly say goodbye to him because they don't mourn in the same circles that we do.
And actually, one look, did you see the screenwriter for Shazam, what he put out there?
Mm-mm.
when the official news that Hamada was leaving. Hamada came up with the Billy Batson mother scene in the apartment in Shazam towards the end of the movie.
Oh, really?
But in the actual movie, Shazam, both of his parents are going to die, and Hamada came with the idea that no, she's alive, and then there's that scene at the end, which is arguably one of, if not the best scenes, in the entire film. Which sort of gives you a highlight of like what that type of position does.
And then Robert Blake, he had a Team Eric member chat that I just missed. It goes, Jobu was in Oakland in the apartment, not in the planes, not in the spiritual planes. Meaning like after
I
death.
think it was just his spiritual. That's just where he's seen him. I thought that's how I took that.
That's how I took it too. So
yeah.
But thank you for the Team Eric member chat and support there.
All right.
Member chat. Yeah, that's it. So we're out of here. We will see everyone later. I'll be live tomorrow. With a member only chat. If anybody who has asked to join would like to join me tomorrow, that would be the time. We're gonna have some people come in that may have not been on the stream before. So we'll do that.
Did you get a fresh trim today, Lance, or is that a couple of days old?
Oh, fresh. Do you like it?
Oh,
yeah, it looks very squared off.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So he's giving off what was the who had the fade in Rings of Power? The
elf.
Yeah. People were giving him because he had the nice squared.
He had the fade. It wasn't really the squared off. It was more like he had like the actual fade on the side. Right, so it was like, what shears are you using there, Magic Elf?
All right,
Thank you, Omega.
Yeah. All right, we're out of here. We'll see y'all later.